Hello, my name is Amy Strickland, and I'm going to be talking about an interpersonal conflict that I had at my work between me and one other person, and then the opening shift at my work. So at my work, you can either work an opening shift or you can work a closing shift, and the opening shift will typically have like 3, 4 people staffed because they have to deal with the lunch rush in the morning. And then once the lunch rush ends, that's usually around when the closing shift will come in. And that is what I work. So one day I showed up to work for my closing shift with that one other person, and there was an insane amount of stuff left to do. The dishes were piled up, there was stuff that needed to be filled, and essentially all of the cleaning still needed to be done. Furthermore, I showed up to work early and saw that the openers, one of them left early, and then the other two that were still there, they were just in the back. One of them was on their phone, and the other was talking to the girl that was on her phone. When their shift wasn't supposed to end till 3, and I showed up at like roughly 2:35, 2:40. This made me and the girl that I was closing with very frustrated, as we had to stay late to get everything done. Meanwhile, the opening shift could just leave us with all of that stuff to do when they decided that they had done enough. And that's essentially what they did. So her and I took two very different conflict styles for handling the situation. I was avoidant. I left knowing that I wasn't going to say anything about it despite my frustrations. And the girl that I was working with, however, took a more competitive approach and left a passive-aggressive note that said, leaving everything for the night shift is crazy, with an angry face drawn on it. The result was an angry text from my manager about the note the next morning, and I had to explain that I had nothing to do with writing it. Looking back, both ways of handling that conflict were not the best. The passive-aggressive note angered my manager and the rest of the opening shift and just made the problem worse, but also by not speaking up myself about the issue, I was essentially letting the problem slide, and therefore the issue would have continued. The best way to solve this conflict would have been collaborative, which would be bringing the issue up to my manager nicely so that me and her could find a solution where the workload would be distributed evenly and that this wouldn't happen again. So I will be keeping that in mind moving forward into my future jobs. Thank you.